Once upon a time, Annie was frozen by her anxiety. She could hardly move or see joy anywhere, until one day she realized her own thoughts could thaw her from the inside. Annie began using her thoughts more and more each day until she warmed up. Then she discovered she was living in a beautiful enchanted forest, which she can now fully experience. This is Annie's manifesting success story. Hello, and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I'm back with Annie. Welcome, Annie.
Hi, Cassie.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Fabulous. So we are continuing in Annie's Year of Growth series, and just to let everyone know, remind everyone, there is an episode that played earlier. It was part of the Future Self. So Annie has been back for almost a month from our Future Self event at the Paradise Valley Castle, and so I just like to make sure that, because that was big growth, so it's worth mentioning that a lot of continued growth is also spurred by being in that environment and continuing the process.
Yes, I completely agree. That trip was wonderful. And it's funny, I've been dreaming completely different since I was at the castle.
Say more, because I love this. And I think it's a reflection of what's going on in your head different.
Yes. Well, you know how I purposely scheduled a bunch of time in the airport and wandered around the airport and had fun in the airport. So I've been having a lot of traveling dreams. I've had a dream where I went to Greece. I had another dream where I went to Africa and did volunteer work. I'm meeting people from all over. Almost every day, I meet someone from an island, often Dominica, and now I'm not surprised. I was at a thrift shop and the person checking me out was from the Dominican Republic. And it's just like, I'm having all of these experience of travel, of talking to people who travel a lot. And then in my dreams, I'm traveling. And all of the cacti and all of the plants that were at I mix up paradise and pleasant.
It's paradise.
Paradise.
Because I think I started mixing it up in the beginning. Paradise. The way I started reminding myself, it's the better, right? We don't want just pleasant. We want.
Yes. Paradise Valley Castle. I didn't want to call it the wrong one, so I just kept saying the castle.
Yeah, which is fine too. That works too.
But all of the different plants, so those have been in my dreams, like the red flowering plant in the backyard by the pool, and the architecture, and so those subtle. And I've always taken that when things show up in my dream, it kind of shows where I am vibrationally.
Yeah.
And so kind of a fun thing.
I agree. Like a huge fun thing, right? Like, oh, this is who I am. Like it's seeing it in a different space. Like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell kind of a funny story?
Yeah, go for it.
I was walking around, you know how we look for evidence. You encourage us to look for evidence of our future selves and our lives, and the things we want and the emotions we want. And I was walking around and I kept seeing all this evidence, and I had this thought, like, it's kind of like the Truman Show. It's like all of this is for me. And then I walk around the corner and there's a license plate that says YOR 43 or 043. So you are 43. And I am. But it was like literally right after I had this, like, man, there's all these signs just for me. It's like the Annie Show.
It is the Annie Show. That is awesome. I love it.
Like, you are 43. I'm like, I am 43. But funny things like that happen all the time, and it's really funny.
That is awesome. Oh, I love that. And it's true. Like all these signs are just put here for me that it's all happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, So fun. So tell us, we talked a little bit before the show. I'm going to change up a little bit how we start, but tell us, how has your future self been showing up? And this is a question just for listeners. This is what I ask every time when we get on a call as a group. I'll say, how has your future self been showing up? And so how has your future self been showing up?
In so many ways. And I think um, as a teacher to my current
Mm.
self.
Ooh, I love
Yeah,
that.
and just encouraging and a guide. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And so because of that, I want to hear more too. But because of that, your future self is showing up as this teacher, as this guide. What awesome things are unfolding in your life because of
Um, my oh, my happiness is off the charts, and really, I'm really happy, and I feel peaceful. My internal dialogue with myself un- has really become nurturing and positive, and I think that's one of the biggest things, but which has made possible other things, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Will you share some examples of this dialogue? Because so many people, I think, well, let me ask this question first. Would you have said that you were positive and you had positive self-talk before now?
Um, I would
Before
say
Enchanted Circle?
on the whole, I mean, I've always been pretty positive,
Mhm.
especially for other people. But
Yeah.
I would say for myself, I was pretty negative as far as if I struggled with something, my internal tape was kind of like if I struggled with something, I would get pretty negative. Like, oh, what's wrong with what? Oh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, just this barrage of insults,
Yeah.
which I would never say to anyone else ever, and not all the time, but in those moments where I don't have 100% of my resources, I think was like
Yeah.
was like especially with money, especially around finances, around decisions. Um, and so the Enchanted Circle has been a process where I've really learned to trust myself and be nurturing and kind to myself.
Ooh, I love it. Will you share your story about the crock pot? Because I think that's just so we often people think it's like these big things, but it's the internal that's running all the time that when you really shift that makes the biggest shifts.
Yeah. And I think it kind of start in the beginning, you start to encourage us to look at our expenditures, look at how we invest our money.
Hmm.
Um, and I had gotten this feeling like I was bad with money. And this morning, when I mean, I haven't had that feeling in a while now, but now I'm great with money. So,
Yay! Yes, you
um, but I was putting a crock pot away, and I had bought this crock pot, and I got a great deal on it, and I was putting it up, and I thought I was like my internal thought, just that automatic thought was, I am so good with money. I'm so great at purchasing awesome things. like like I make great decisions. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but that was the gist of it. And then I felt like, I know this sounds chilly, like cheesy, but like a smile in my heart. Like,
Aw,
it's so different than, oh, you idiot. Like,
right.
which was how I used to talk to myself. Like, oh, you're an idiot. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't know how to do this. And now if I don't know how to do something, I find my resources and figure out how to do it, and then I can do it. And This week, the last 2 weeks, I've been meeting with a colleague who's teaching me how to do kind of the business side of my profession and getting on insurance panels and doing all of these things that I've been avoiding for a year. So it's like life is expansive because I'm instead of going, oh shit, I don't know how to do this, I'm figuring it out, and I can. And
yeah.
I don't know if I went off track there, but
no, I mean, it's all connected. I think you were totally on track. And I'll just kind of step by step it for our listeners, because to make sure they get it, right? It's when we start to look at things differently and we start to have different conversations with ourselves that, like, then everything else changes, because, like, oh, I'm really good with money. You're automatically able to go like, oh, if I don't know how to do this, I can figure it out, right?
yeah.
Versus, if we're preparing ourselves by talking bad to ourselves, we're not likely to take that step to figure things out. But it comes naturally as the evolution of, talking better to ourselves and building this trust in ourselves. And then it's like, yeah, I can figure that out. And then now you're figuring out all these other ways to make money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Speaking of money, I know that one of the ways that your future self has been showing up in the past couple of weeks as well is getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since I got home from Arizona, I've been getting loads and loads of checks in the mail, so which is good.
I love it. What's the internal shift that is creating that, allowing that, really, just having that come true, that all of this money that was out there is coming to you?
What is the internal shift? Let's see. I have thought about this a lot because at one point in time, I kept going, okay, there's over $10,000 out. I really need it to be in.
Yeah.
What exactly do I need to do? And so, but it wasn't anything I did. I didn't physically do anything. I kept doing all of the homework assignments you gave me.
Yes.
And I knew I was changing a tide of that. So I've had this tide for years about money, and I could felt like I was turning a huge steamboat on the ocean. It takes a while. It's not like, does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. And I used to give this description all the time. So yes, like you can't turn that huge boat on a dime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little while. Yeah. Keep going. Tell us about turning the huge steamboat.
And so I have been feeling that, like, I could feel the changing of kind of the friction or just how it felt. And I think we talked about this last time, where one of my thoughts now is like, oh, I wonder how this is going to work out in this all knowing it's going to work out. It's going to be fun to see how it works out. And it does. And so that has led us to, I know I'm going to get these checks. I know people are going to start paying me. And they do. And so I can't pin, it sounds so simple, but it really didn't feel simple about a month ago.
Right. Well, I think it started, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but this is just like where I remember, is you called someone and you actually stood in your power and said, like, you're going to pay me.
Yeah.
Pay me. And you had her set up a payment. Like, I served you. I did the work. You were the person who gets paid in that moment, is how I would describe it.
Yeah, I did start there was definitely some action, because I was like waiting for it to just come to me, I guess. Yeah. And then I was like, all right, let's, there were some steps I could take. And I did. I called people and I said, we need to set up a payment plan, and let me help you do that. And I know that we can be successful in this mission of me getting paid.
Yes, I love it. We can be successful. And that is awesome.
And I just got another contract that's going to get going. And yeah, things are really falling into place. Um,
Yay. Is that another day contract? Is that what you were?
It is. It is.
Yay.
And so I'm going to take another day contract, and then I'm going to start. I've been commuting so much. I'm
Mm,
going to start renting an office close to home and start building
yes.
up my practice close to home.
Yay. Which having this day where like, okay, these clients are all here really was that showing up was one of the things that allowed you to start building closer to home, right? It gives that
Yeah.
space and that freedom, right?
Yeah.
Ugh, I love it. And part of that was letting go of another office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I remember, like when you did that, as soon as you did that, you get like 3 new clients.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Oh, I love it. It's what's the funnest thing about money right now?
um, the funnest thing I would say is intentionally creating my life. And like this last week, I've been, during the um, manifesting 1000K, that list you make of things you want. And I made a new list, and then I started shopping for the kind of dishes I want, the kind of like
Yeah.
intentionally creating my life is the funnest thing about money, I think.
Oh, what? Oh, that's so fun. And do you think that your increased belief is like what's allowing you to be intentional? Or say a little bit about that. What do you think is key to like I know I can do it. I'm just gonna start.
Um, I, I think I think being really intent. I've been in the Enchanted Circle since October,
Mhm.
and it's now May, and so I think dedicating myself to a program and really doing it has I've kind of proven to myself that I am going to take these steps. I am creating a life that I love. I am capable of everything I want to be, do, and have. And I feel so much more powerful in that.
Yes.
A shift is happening within me that feels incredibly liberating and fun. And now, kind of every step I take, I am creating a life that I love. And every step I take, I am confident, I am happy, I am peaceful. Um, yes.
That feels so good. That's amazing.
It feels so good. It's like permeating all of my cells.
It's and I love that visual, of course, right? It's
Yeah.
I love when you're like every step I take, like I'm confident, I'm peace, all of these things, right? And they're I love it for so many reasons. And I love that you said, you did like from October to now, you have committed to this program. You've committed to doing it. You've committed to showing up even when you're like, oh, I don't know if I should take that day off and do that. Right.
Hmm.
And you just keep committing and making that choice. And now you get to make even more deliberate choices and do more deliberate things. And I love what you said. And I want to highlight this to our listeners that you have proven to yourself I'm doing this and it works. And so now every decision, every conscious choice that you make to create your life is and to deliberately create it. Like there's such even inside you and the reflection from the universe is, oh, this is happening.
Hmm.
Yeah. Ah, it's
Yeah.
so good. I have chills.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really wonderful and it's fun. It's like, yeah, it's just fun. Like going to the gym and going to Tuscany.
Yeah.
Like I've been talking about going to Tuscany on a bike trip, and then at the gym the video is playing. I'm like, oh yeah, you get to go to Tuscany. It's just
Right.
fun. And I've slowed down a lot, and not really slowed down, but it feels just much more calm and intentional, and like I'm on time way more. I just have I'm more organized. I just feel, I mean, everything was pretty okay before, but it was like fast and it all fell together at the last minute, or do you know what I mean? And now it's like, it's better than okay. It's wonderful. And
Ah,
um and intent, I guess intentional is my big word for today for some reason, but
yeah.
yeah.
Ooh, I love it. Cause yeah, that intention and that slow, like it's the I say this a lot, but often we move like when we move slower, we go faster. And that's what's happening. It's that slowdown and the intention and like this is all coming together that is like really allowing things to come together in an even more juicy and fun and awesome way.
Yeah.
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 What's the biggest what's this chapter that you're living in your money story right now?
The chapter, like a title for a chapter?
Yeah, like if we were to title this chapter.
All right. Let's see. It's like I grabbed my pen. I'm like, okay, creation time. um, bountiful.
Ooh.
I would
Yeah.
say bountiful bliss.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And
Chapter 43.
yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. I just, even when you say that title, it's like I just see the deer like running and bouncing and having fun in spring. And it just feels like so much fun in your life right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun, and my relationships are deepening, and I'm so much more present because I'm not worried about things, and I can really be present, and that feels, I know it feels different to me, and I'm guessing it probably feels different to those I'm talked to.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they notice, even if they don't know for sure what they're noticing.
Mhm.
Were you aware that you weren't present, or is it just as you've let go of that worry and there's space to be more present that you've realized it?
Um, I know I felt rushed a lot, and I know I was, my intention was to be mindful, and I did lots of mindful stuff. Um, but my, like I've like I've settled deeper within myself.
Yeah.
Um, and that I'm so much more present with myself that
Mhm.
it's like I, I don't know. It's like, well, I do know, but I'm not wobbly. It does, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, that makes huge sense.
yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And I just love hearing it because I think you're like a lot of people. Like I was trying to be intentional. I was trying to be mindful. It was you were aware those were important things,
Mhm.
and yet until we start to change the things that make us worry, in this case money,
Mhm.
it's almost like we don't have the capacity until there's space for it.
Yeah, and that foundation of self-worth that
Yes.
you start with is really, really, and it's very valuable. Mm.
Oh, yay. It's so much fun to see like who you've become, but even who you're becoming, because it's every day, it's every call. I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's on fire. Like I see this happening and this happening. And I see her growing. Like I can see all this awesome stuff coming for you as you just go about having fun riding bikes and living your life.
It was funny today. I had this thought, like I used to yearn so much for the future,
Hmm.
and now I know there is a fabulous future out there, but the right now is so peaceful and beautiful, and I love it so much that I'm excited about the future, and I'm also so happy with the now.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
a
so,
pretty nice place to be.
yeah, right? Oh, it's an amazing place to be. So what advice would you give somebody who recognizes themselves like, I'm trying to be present and mindful, but I'm rushed and I'm worried and I'm all that. And I want to be where Annie is, where like the now is awesome and peaceful and beautiful. What advice would you give somebody?
I think what's really been helpful for me is the developing a positive relationship with myself and not judging myself so much, and being like, it's okay to not be perfect, and choosing how I want to feel, and then feeling that way and creating situations
Yeah,
where I feel that way. I think I just said like 20 ideas, um, but yeah, those things have been very helpful for me.
that's awesome. I
Oh,
love
can I
it.
throw in another one?
Of course, always.
Paying attention to our feelings, because if you're if you're feeling rotten, it's a guidance. It's like telling you something. And so figuring out how you want to feel, and even if it's a tiny little thing for 10 seconds, a minute, feeling that way is very helpful. And then you get used to feeling happy. If you're used
Yeah,
to feeling rushed around and anxious, then that's kind of the outfit that you wear. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's what feels right. Like life is supposed to be like that. And so when you identify you want life to be a different way, consciously create, okay, then how do I want to feel? All right, I want to do this. Okay. So I've really appreciated that about the Enchanted Circle, is that it's very structured, and that um you're educating yourself about a whole new way of being. um yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. All right. So what do you I know the here and now is awesome. And I'm like, ooh, do I still ask this question? But I want to. What are you excited about over the next 30 days? Like, what are you excited to see what happens, or what you think is going to unfold before our next interview?
I'm very excited to find my new office space in Longmont, and the clients I'm going to meet here, and this direction I'm going. That I love working in Denver area and all throughout the state of Wyoming and Colorado, but I'm also looking forward to um, working in my community and helping people be happy and healthy.
Yay. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm looking forward to the office update in a month from now. And just by then, I know like so many cool things are going to have unfolded. Um, just like when you got your house, like just so many things have unfolded. So I'm even more excited about your office.
Me too.
Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Cassie.
Yeah, and thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out what else is awesome in Annie's next year of growth interview.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are inspired and you're ready to start writing a new money story, a new life story, to really pick the pin up and design your happy ever after, go to enchantedlifeu.com. That's enchantedlifeu.com to get started. For any links that we talked about in the show, you can find the show notes at manifestingsuccessstories.com.